up, I just want to thank Peter and John, the RV geeks, for pulling the strings at YouTube to get that site back up.
I don't think we did that.
Live tonight. Let me introduce myself. My name's Adam. This is my wife, Celine, and we're the RVers Family. And we just wanted to say hi to get started tonight. And we're happy to be the online hosts for the RVers TV show. So these are our three sons. Joel, what do you love most about RVing?
I like meeting new friends and trading Pokemon cards with them.
Meeting new friends and trading Pokemon cards. Zachary, what do you love most about RVing?
I like going fun places and going to fun campgrounds.
Yeah? Ian, what do you love most about RVing?
Mommy cooks really good and it's really yummy.
Celine, what do you love about RVing?
Actually, spending all the time with these crazy people.
I will tell you the thing I like.
Wherever you're watching. Sorry?
I was going to say the thing I like best about RVing is when we see you guys because of Celine's cooking.
Of course. Hey, if you guys are watching on Facebook or YouTube, let us know you can hear us loud and clear. This is the first time we've gone live, the whole lot of us all at once. So we want to be sure you can hear us. So if you can hear us all right, just leave a comment and let us know. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. You going to head out with Mama? Mm-hmm. Okay, see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
See you, everybody.
Save a cinnamon roll for us.
Bye.
Good night, Zach. So long, Joel.
Celine pushes them out the door. There's something about working with kids and pets. Anthony, can you tell us what that is in TV? You're not supposed to work with kids or animals, right?
Yeah, you're actually not supposed to, but I guess you're breaking all the rules.
I do what I can, and that's a great segue, if I do say so myself, to lead us into season 2, where one of our segments is hanging out with pets on the road. So anyway, I'm looking forward to chatting tonight. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. Not that we gave you a choice, but here we are.
Invading your living rooms.
And we are getting the loud and clear from people on YouTube.
Great. Yeah, Lila's on Facebook saying loud and clear in Anaheim, loud and clear in Long Island. Hector's saying hello. John from Cape Cod, loud and clear. Great. I'm glad you can hear us all. And I'm glad that the madness of having my kids right here with me while I work has finally subsided. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Let's start with not working with kids and not working with pets. Tom and Kate, you shot some segments for season 2 about RVing with pets. How was that experience for you?
Well, it is, as you can imagine. We had to take multiple takes because the dogs were either sniffing something new or peeing or seeing something else move and getting distracted and like pulling me away. So like the shot is like of me walking them and they were just not with it for most of the takes. So,
no. And I had
I
had to walk backwards for about 3 miles with the dogs just going every which way trying to film this. It was quite a challenge. So yeah, the kids and pets thing, it's very challenging on camera.
It's valid.
So Anthony, you travel with pets as well, and how do you? I mean, obviously you love having your dogs on the road with you, but what's kind of the experience like for someone who doesn't have pets?
Well, I mean, coming home and having your dog jump all over you makes you feel like after having been out shooting or doing other things, it makes you feel like you're at home. So that's why RVing and traveling, and no matter where you go, whether it's just going out to see the sights or get work done, when you come home and your dogs are all over you, you feel like you're at home. Now, in our case, we have a 43-foot fifth wheel, but when we were traveling recently, we were in a camper van. So 43-foot fifth wheel, camper van. So the 2 dogs in there, and Lisa and me and
they're
all
not
our
small
stuff.
dogs.
Man,
They're full-size dogs.
yeah, and they're like 45, 50-pound dogs. They're not like little, but it gets awfully small, awfully quick. But when they're snuggling up with you and they're saying, "Hey, you're home," it's fantastic. They're part of the family, and nothing's better than traveling with your family.
Peter and John, you don't have pets right now. Have you ever traveled with pets, or did you have pets before you traveled?
He tells everyone that he has me. He doesn't need a pet.
No, we have.
And he's lucky that I'm house trained.
I grew up in a family with pets everywhere, and I see that my mother is online watching right now, so she'll know we grew up in a menagerie with dogs, cats, turtles, fish, ducks, chicks, rabbits, and there was always something. And John, unfortunately, is from the other end of the spectrum and has never actually had a dog or a cat before. And we would love to have, we'd love to get a cat, if nothing else, because we love both dogs and cats. But we found that we don't really understand how all of our friends with pets manage to do it when they need to go away. We're lazy. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, basically it boils down to that.
Yeah, you guys definitely have the flexibility of not having to figure out what to do with the cat. Say if you go to New Zealand for 5 weeks or something like that.
That could happen.
For us, when we went to New Zealand with you guys, we had to plan it so that like we were near our in-laws and they were willing and able to take them for that extended amount of time. For which we are very grateful, and that isn't a luxury that we have all the time. So we are limited, and not being able to go, camping in the national parks, like backcountry hiking or something like that, because pets aren't allowed. So we just have to kind of think about that, and there are certain limitations. But we like to say that having them, there's definitely more pros than cons.
You couldn't give up Mocha and Bella, they're too cute. Oh my gosh. Mocha's such a mush.
Or Boca, you've combined the names.
Boca, yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about some of your favorite segments coming up in season 2. But before we get there, it's my responsibility to remind everybody that this Saturday morning at 8 a.m., season 2 premieres on Discovery at 8 a.m., I should say, Eastern, 7 Central. And we're really excited for everybody to get to watch season 2. So please tune in. Even if you're not available, set your DVR, your PVR if you're in Canada, set your TiVo, set your VCR, whatever you have to do, set it to watch season 2, because all of those things help our numbers, which help us continue to bring the show to you. So Anthony, let's start with you. As the producer of the show, which segment of season 2 or what piece of the puzzle in season 2 is your favorite?
I think one of the funniest ones that happened all season, Peter knows where I'm going with this, is RV etiquette. So Tom and Kate and Peter and John put together a handy dandy list of some of the do's and don'ts of RVing. And the good news here is, I mean, there's like a million do's and don'ts, and they only just scratched the surface. And the segment did, well, it hasn't done so well yet, but I know that it will. It's done so well in my eyes. I think it's going to be so popular that I think it may be the beginning of a short series of segments. I think we may revisit etiquette. It was done so well, and it is like laughing out loud funny. I mean, it is really, really funny, and educational too. Sure.
Well, I'd like to add to that. So Tom and Kate actually did the segment, and John and I simply horned our way into it because they were shooting it.
Don'ts.
They were shooting a small part of it while they were visiting with us, and we got in the way of everything.
It was great to have some people willing to act out all those things that you just like.
Oh, they were acting.
Well, and
we're hoping you guys were acting, right?
Either Kate either needs to win a major award for her acting annoyed with us irritating them during that whole process, or we are particularly good at being annoying, because by the time it was done, I swear Kate was like, okay, this needs to stop. We need to be done with this segment.
Okay, we're done shooting.
I think there may have been some real annoyance in there at the end.
I have a feeling.
Like, guys, gosh, they're really taking this far.
I have a feeling if you just followed me around and used it for B-roll, that between the boys and I, we would probably create all kinds of options for RV etiquette that need to be corrected. We had so much to learn when we got on the road.
We have camped near you, Adam. We can attest to that.
Oh, nice.
I do remember the first time we met, Peter and John, you had to tell me that I wasn't supposed to leave my black tank open all the time. So I don't know if you remember that, but I we'd been on the road for like 6 weeks when we met, and I genuinely had no idea what I was doing. The first campsite we got to, we had no running water within our trailer. So that just shows you how green we were during the process.
So, Adam, is that the reason that you just sold your old trailer, because it had a pyramid in the black
listen,
tank?
apparently that's only good for like 18 months, and then you sell the trailer, and then you start over. So,
it's a new technique.
You do what you have to do.
Apparently.
Tom and Kate, what's your favorite segment coming up in season 2?
Well, we haven't actually seen a lot of the segments, so we can't speak, in detail about what our favorite one is, final out the door. But I think our favorite shooting-wise, I think mine personally was the RVing with Pets shoot, just because our dogs are like my thing, and
I would have to agree with that.
Enjoyed that and putting together, the talking points and things like that. It was just like it was just really close to home for me to talk about that thing or that subject, RVing with your pets on the road and all the things that we've learned over the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it was a fun shoot to do. I think it's going to be a really good segment, and it's so popular to travel with your pets. So I think getting to share that is really exciting.
What's your favorite?
I probably have to agree. The RVing with pets, at least the shoot, and we're very excited to see it air coming up here shortly.
Peter and John?
RVing with Pets actually is going to kick off the season. The very first segment of season 2 is RVing with Pets. You don't have to wait too much longer.
All right.
Excellent timing. I wish we
are going to be getting up
that.
early.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're going to be getting up early Saturday morning to watch it real time. We're doing a sleepover at the in-laws on Friday, and getting up early and watching it.
Oh, how fun. How fun.
Peter and John, what's your segment that you're looking forward to?
Well, I know for me, I have a tough time choosing between a couple. So there are two. One is about Boondocking 101, Boondocking for newbies, because that was me basically taking Anthony and Matt, his lead singer, and torturing them. And that was kind of fun. And the other segment that I'm very excited about is RVing with friends, because it's something that Tom and Kate and John and I shot together, and we have spent how many months together this year? At least 2 plus.
At least two, yeah.
2 of the 4 of us alone, 5 weeks in New Zealand and a month in the desert before that, plus time in many other places. So we have a bond that led to shooting a very special piece.
Made it extra fun.
Yeah.
And I think, not to be self-absorbed, but I think the one I'm looking forward to the most is an electrical segment that Tom and I shot.
I was just going to agree with that.
Yeah,
that
we had
near and dear to, I think, both our hearts.
Yeah, exactly. We got to geek out together and have fun doing the shoot. We had a great crew with Peter and Caitlin manning cameras and helping us out. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that all edited together and broadcast to the world.
And just a little behind the scenes, that segment was shot in the exact same location as the RVing with friends.
Yeah, when we were all together, so that was fun.
Yeah, it wasn't all just wine and fun. It
Most
was
of
productive.
I've seen some of those shots, and they are like cinematography. So I want to know how many glasses of wine you had to drink to get that exact perfect sip that I saw in some of that B-roll.
One take.
We might have had to practice
right,
that a
of
few
course.
times.
We're getting all kinds of comments and questions on Facebook and YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, let us know where you're watching from. We see somebody who's watching from Australia. Someone's watching from Lake Havasu in Arizona. And somebody else is watching. Let's see. Oh, my comments disappear after a little while. Okay, sorry. I'm not sure where they're watching from. When they tell us again, we're going to know exactly where they're watching from. Someone was
I was going to say, I can see some from here. We have someone from Michigan, Long Island, New Jersey.
Michigan.
Everywhere.
Yeah, all over the place.
Michigan in the
perfect.
house.
Somebody's asking quickly, what was your favorite segment from season 1? So maybe we could chime in quick on your favorite segment from season 1.
Well,
long ago.
I'm gonna go first on that one, only because and it's purely for selfish reasons. Kate and I just had the time of my life doing that. It kicked off the show. It set the stage, and Kate was just so fun to work with. And the fact that all 5 of us who you see sitting here created that epic 10 camera shoot, and it was very rewarding.
Yeah, definitely. That was an awesome shoot. And Peter, you're an excellent teacher, and I'm so glad I didn't crash your motorhome.
you and me both.
Listen, I was nervous at the end of episode 1, and I couldn't believe I had to wait till episode 2 to find out if Kate destroyed the motorhome or not.
Anthony knows how to put a cliffhanger out there. He's experienced with this.
Well, and I was going to say, I was going to jump in and say, I think my favorite segment from last season may have been the Alaska segment, primarily because of Tom and Kate's incredible cinematography up in Alaska. It really just showcased the beauty of the state and all that there was to see. So that was a fantastic episode.
And I will put a little spoiler out there that in episode 6 of season 2, Tom and Kate's Alaska adventure will expand beyond what anyone's ever seen. I see Tom is wearing their Go North Morton's on the Move shirt. You will see Tom's cinematography and Tom and Kate's work in all its glory in the final episode of season 2, like you won't believe. We have seen that one. It's amazing.
It's stunning.
Okay,
we are really excited about
We're getting some questions coming in about how and where can we watch the RVers show. It is going to be airing season 2 this Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern on Discovery Channel. So make sure you track that down. After it's on Discovery Channel, then it'll be available across all of our digital platforms, on Amazon, on Apple TV, on Google Play. Just watch our social media channels so you can track it down there. And if you'd like to see season 1, because we have a few people asking about that, there's a few ways you can get that as well. Apple TV, Amazon, or you can go to our website, TheRVers.tv, and you can order a DVD of season 1 as well. Guys, I was wanting to ask something, and I've completely forgotten what that was.
I was going to mention that I wish we had a DVD. We have DVDs here. We could have shown one, but I wasn't planning to do any hawking of product. Oh, Tom's reaching for something. You got one?
I thought I had one. Right
Go
here.
ahead.
Oh, right. It's not just right there in the pocket of
ours
that
are in
chair.
the closet. I'm not going to make
ready to whip it out at any moment.
Okay, I know what my question was now. My question was,
oh, good.
Kate's going to get one.
I could do that too, but then my window would be completely empty. So then we'd be in trouble. Guys, when you're making videos for TV, how does that compare? There it is, right there.
There it is.
There,
oh,
it's glory.
Grab a DVD of season 1 at TheRVers.tv. We'll ship it right to
That's Carol Merrill there, and that's probably
that.
a reference that youngsters don't get.
No, that's right.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to have to pass on that one. So when you're making videos for TV, how is that different than when you're making videos for YouTube? So maybe you could tell us a little bit about your experience and the things that have to be done differently for TV as compared to when you're making content for YouTube.
Yeah, well, I think that one of the biggest things that's different is that we're working as a team, a much larger team than when we're creating content for YouTube. It's typically just ourselves, or if you're doing a collaboration, a much smaller team. And we're also editing and producing the full storyline. Whereas with Anthony and his editing team and his writing team, they're creating the story. And we have to integrate with him to kind of try to figure out what they're thinking, to produce the segment, and then they do their side of things. So it's a much more broken up process than when we're creating it from start to finish all on our own.
We have the same kind of situation. I think another part of it too is that the broadcast standards that are required for television dictate certain things. So we have upgraded our camera equipment substantially. And also, it's been a great learning experience. Both Anthony, with broadcast experience with the Aviators for 8 years, and Tom, who has built-in cinematography skills. He was born with a camera in his hand, I think. We have learned from both of them on ways to properly frame and shoot, and it's a higher standard.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I think so like Tom and Kate's videos were already being edited to a standard that was much closer to what the TV segments were, with a lot more B-roll and sort of ancillary shots that we're not necessarily used to shooting for our own footage for a lot of the how-to stuff and everything. So I think we've had a larger learning curve on remembering to get the B-roll, and I'm sure Anthony and his team would wish that we would give them a lot more of the B-roll in
Season
order to
3.
flesh out. We keep saying that. We said that in season 1. We said season 2 will be much better. So I think that learning curve it's definitely something that's different. But hopefully it's now cascading backwards into our YouTube channel, that we're doing more of the same stuff for YouTube that we're shooting for the show.
And not to try to plug the video we published this morning, but I will. We put out one of the longest videos we've ever published this morning, and it was an hour-long, long-form version of something that will appear in episode 1, day after tomorrow. And that is while we were at the Escapers Bash in Lake Havasu with Anthony, we filmed Anthony interviewing the Escapers founders, Travis and Melanie Carr. The next day, we set up and replicated some of what Anthony had done the night before a crowd of some 300 or 400 people under the big tent with 5 cameras, 10 microphones, and us working to be on stage and host and work cameras and all. And then, because of the fact that the show is going to, I found out a few days ago that the premiere of the show is going to include that segment. I thought, hey, I better get to work. And if I'm going to ever produce the long form version of that, showing behind the scenes and how it's all done, showing the cameras and the mics and everything, I better do it now. And we spent the last 48 hours. We literally went to bed at 5:30 this morning because we had to do the editing of a massive shoot. And so if anybody wants to see a little behind the scenes of what is going to appear in episode 1, when Anthony interviews them with footage from our shoot, if they want to crack open the popcorn and a stiff glass of something and watch an hour-long video, we published that to our YouTube channel, the RV Geeks channel, this morning.
And that definitely gave us a much greater
appreciation
for the skills and effort involved in editing such large pieces, because
I had this idea in my mind that Anthony would see that and want to immediately hire me to edit stuff, and I already had my answer.
Yeah.
So I should delete that email then.
Yeah, right. I think if you asked, we'd probably say no at this point, because that was brutal.
It was
somebody who's watching along. Go to YouTube. If you're not already on YouTube, find that video. It's the top of the RV Geeks channel, and post it in the comments so everybody else who's watching can wait until we're done here and then watch it later.
That's right.
And Thank you so much in advance for that. Anthony, tell us a little bit about this magic thing called B-roll for someone who might have no idea what this heavenly gold is we're talking about.
Well, the amazing thing about B-roll is you're looking at it, and you may not even necessarily notice it, but it's an element of more advanced production that it's less obvious stuff. But the nature of B-roll is to just keep things moving and keep you visually entertained and keep your mind occupied. And that's one of the differences between good production and inferior production, is among probably several things, but certainly one of the things is B-roll. And what that is it's when the primary footage, everyone watching us right now is watching primary footage. You have a subject talking, you have a camera on them, that's your primary footage. Secondary footage would be if I have another camera pointing at me right now, and you can cut away to that. And then B-roll is when you can maybe get a shot of a close-up of this cup before I pick it up to take a sip. And who would think of taking some of the B-roll shots that you do, like a branch gently swaying? Like, where would you use that? Am I doing a segment on trees and branches that blow in the wind? I'm not doing a segment on that. But you use little shots that you don't think really necessarily belong to the primary segment. And that, in combination with something that a lot of people also don't think about, is music. And that really creates the feel and the mood of the entire thing. And that's probably the biggest secret in the creative element of television and advanced YouTube content, is the incredible use and availability of music and B-roll. And that just really makes you might not even know why you like something better. You say, well, it just seems like it's better quality. Music and B-roll is a lot of why that is.
So I don't know about your other TV shows, but have you worked with people who are primarily from YouTube before? And how is that affect working with people who were previously in the production industry?
Well, I mean, there's pros and cons both ways. We haven't worked with YouTube people too much with Aviators, because when we started Aviators, we started filming in 2008, 2009. YouTube was still relatively young, still very relatively crude, really. And now there's really high quality production on YouTube that didn't exist really.
Like the Mortons.
like hey, among several, the Mortons definitely being up there for sure. And working with television people doesn't necessarily assure you that level of quality either, because I mean, I've worked with people who have news experience, like local news and national news experience, and news footage and what we do is not the same thing. You get that kind of run and gun look, and we've done like semi unscripted documentary. I don't want to say reality, but Airboss, for example, and Jet Truck were unscripted documentary. And that was run and gun. And you could throw a news person to do that same stuff, and it would look like local news, and it really is, when you're talking about creativity, you can't just pick up a couple of drumsticks and hit a pot or a pan and call yourself a drummer or call yourself a musician. You have to have some talent. And, whether it's playing music or whether it's holding a camera or whether it's editing or writing, any aspect that's creative, you've got to have the gene. You've got to be good at it. And I think my biggest job is collecting people who are really, really good at what they do and unifying them to one common goal so that we can produce what we do.
So in a second, I'm going to ask you, Tom and Kate, as well as Peter and John, about what was one of the most challenging things you had to shoot for season 2. But it's that time in the show where I get to remind everybody that season 2 is coming up this Saturday at 8 a.m. on Discovery Channel, 8 a.m. Eastern. And so you can start to see season 2 premiere this Saturday, 8 a.m. on Discovery Channel. And if you don't have access to Discovery Channel, then it'll be on digital channels a little bit later in the year. And of course, PBS and Fun Roads TV after it airs on Discovery. Okay, Tom and Kate, let's start with you guys. Which piece of season 2 did you find to be one of the most challenging to shoot?
Well, not one segment stands out, because there are elements of every shoot that are difficult. And it's like a rule. It's a law of the universe that no matter when you start filming for something, you're spending hours of preparation, setting it up, everything's coming together, the lighting, the sound, everything. And as soon as you turn on that camera, an airplane flies by, or
a lawnmower.
A dog starts. Somebody
always-
starts hammering on
always the
something or
lawnmower.
cutting boards.
One one segment that was particularly challenging we shot with John and Peter was the segment that is going to go a little more in depth as to our Alaska journeys. And we had so much challenge with actually getting that shot that partway through the lighting totally changed. Lawnmower started. We had to basically scrap it and start all over the next day.
And then even when we started all over the next day, there was this part where John had to stand with a diffuser and make sure that we weren't hit by sunlight so that there was shade on our face, because we all of a sudden came into sunlight just as it was setting. So there's John standing there for like 10 minutes with this diffuser over his head. And we just had to like keep going, pretending like he wasn't just standing right there.
It's not like I'm lurking right next to you while you're trying to concentrate on your, what you have to say.
And I'm sure he was standing there going like, "Oh my gosh, guys, hurry up. My arms are killing me."
I couldn't even see you. I was just looking at the diffuser.
So,
I would agree.
There are elements of every shoot.
But as we discussed earlier, trying to film with the dogs was particularly frustrating, as they
have minds of their own.
They're doing their own thing.
Understand what
they don't know they're on
right
camera.
We had one that I believe is going to be in episode 5, which is about featuring Xantrex solar panels and equipment that we filmed on the roof of our motorhome. And the challenge there became similar to what happens so often, that it takes so long to set up and prepare that things can change. And we had to wait, of course, for a sunny day. It wouldn't make much sense to film a segment on solar and when it's heavily overcast. So we got this gorgeous sunny day, and we drove to the location that we had selected and made a big deal out of it.
Shot all our B-roll.
We shot everything and we're ready. We were nonchalant about it because the weather forecast was for no clouds. Great. We get up on the roof of the RV. We set up 3 cameras, and it took probably an hour and a half to set things up, mic'd up. We're ready to go. And we start. And once the cameras are rolling, you keep going, and you're often going for 45 minutes to an hour doing your A-roll, your primary footage, and with all 3 cameras running. And what happened was there was a tree fairly tall, not as far away from us as we thought, and we didn't realize which way the sun was going to go. We thought it was going to go this way, but it went
behind the tree
that way. And
so we see the shadow chasing its way on the roof towards us. Like,
we haven't seen the segment yet, but Anthony indicated that things are okay, because we asked if we needed to reshoot it. It will be clear that we are in heavy shadow by the time we're done. And I would have ripped my hair out if I had some.
And I have a personal pet peeve about bugs, just as it is. It doesn't really go well with leading an outdoor life. Bugs are just sort of part of the game. But I don't know what it is about having a camera set up and being mic'd and all ready to go. But flies and mosquitoes and whatever's going to bite you seem to be drawn to the moment you hit record. And so we've had several situations in Italy when we were doing a segment there.
On International RVing,
swarmed.
The segment will come up, I think, in maybe episode 3 or 4. And you can see us batting away flies. You see them landing on our
And they're
hats.
really smart, because they wait. They give you the false sense of security that all is going to be right with the world. And you start and you get to the point where you're about halfway through, and then they're swarming your ears and they're landing on the lens, and it's just bugs are a pain. Don't shoot with bugs. It's not good.
We actually did that on a YouTube video recently, where we threw an outtake at the end, and you can see a bumblebee land on the lens.
Yes. That'd be like that camera.
Yeah.
Anthony, when you were shooting, how does this compare to some of the other shows that you've shot? How is the RVers different in that respect?
You talk about the not the shortage of B-roll, but how we can really expand on it. Because the lifestyle is one that is laid back, generally speaking, and because it's not like you're shooting an air show, and an air show is this weekend, Saturday from 1 to 5, Sunday from noon to 3, finite times. If you want to get some of those B-roll shots, like I said, of trees with swaying branches, you can get that anytime. Except you can't schedule anytime. There is no anytime. You're either doing it or you're not doing it. And if you defer it and you never get back to it, it doesn't get done. And that's that's the risk, is knowing that you could shoot something at any time and then just forgetting to get to it. That's probably the biggest drawback with this, because it is so very laid back. So every once in a while you have to remember, we're working, so let's get to work.
So I'm going to ask everybody what kind of segments you would like to shoot for future seasons, or what ideas you might have for future seasons. But if you're watching right now on Facebook or YouTube, I would also love to hear your answer. What kind of topics or what kinds of ideas would you like to see show up on future seasons of the RVers? So just go ahead and leave that comment right there in Facebook or YouTube where you're watching. Peter and John, let's start with you. What kind of ideas have you had of segments you'd like to cover in the future?
Oh, man.
Well, I think there are some obvious things, not necessarily things that are near and dear to me, but I think need to be covered. Families are a big issue. Single travelers, more about part-timers. And as speaking of single travelers, one of the segments that will appear in the streaming and PBS version of the show, for those who don't know, the Discovery Channel, of course, requires commercials. It's commercial television, as does Fun Roads TV. So they can't have as much content. So all of the streaming services, iTunes and Amazon Video and Google Play, PBS, those have more time in their half hour for content. And that time is used for a 5-minute segment called On the Road, which features some RVer or RVers who have some interesting angle or story to tell. And one of the people that we shot for season 2, who will be appearing in episode 5 or 6, I believe, is Mary, who is Jason Wynn's mom. And she got her first RV at over 60 years old and had never RV'd before and immediately went full time. And we filmed her telling her story about doing that. I think more fleshed out segments about individual people's specific situation, whether it be families or traveling single. I know there's a segment coming up on the road about someone who is in a wheelchair. There will be more of those types of topics.
Yeah, I find those very interesting because it's always fun to hear sort of other people's origin stories. What is it that motivated them to either get into the lifestyle or to stay in the lifestyle, what they love about RVing. And I find it fun to really just see, because it seems like everybody's out here doing the same thing, and yet we're all doing it with sort of our own flavor. And that's really fascinating to see how many different flavors of RVers there are.
I think maybe featuring an RVer who's out there, and this just came to me, Anthony, so we can
start writing.
So I won't have to WhatsApp you. I'm going to tell you now. Someone who is an individual, couple, or family in the smallest RV you could imagine full-timing. That would be an interesting topic.
That's pretty good. Now, a van, I think, is pretty small, but I know there's a whole lot smaller.
Oh, no, I'm talking
like
teardrop, like a tab trailer.
Homeschooling. If we could toss homeschooling in with that too.
I want to see a family of 5 in a tab trailer.
No. Okay, let's move on to Kate and Tom. I'm not living any portion of my life in a teardrop trailer. I hear what you're suggesting, and we're moving right along.
To each their own, right?
It might be fun for a weekend. Like, I think that would be a cool challenge, and it might make a cool YouTube video, but I don't think that it's something that I would want, like, on network television.
How small can we live?
How small can you go?
I would agree with John and Peter that I think covering the stories of how people use RVs, and particularly some of the really unique scenarios. People use RVs outside of just pleasure and travel, for work, for some really unique scenarios that we've crossed paths with some people. And I think trying to find some of those stories and showcasing them would be really interesting.
And especially right now during the coronavirus pandemic, how RVs are being used for medical workers on the front lines and how people are using them as basically another home so that they're not going back to their families and their homes and possibly spreading disease there, or they're moving to be where they're most needed, where help is most needed. So different ways that RVs are being used out there would be a really cool thing.
Also, just how a little bit more of where and what you can do with an RV. Where do people take them, and what kind of adventures do they have when they get to those places? I think telling those stories would be really, really exciting for us.
I also think there needs to be a segment breaking down RV toilets, because how can we have an RVer show without talking about toilets?
Just so you know, Kate, I know you haven't seen it yet, but the video we posted this morning where we were talking with Anthony, I told him that if there were going to be a video about a black tank emergency, that I was going to flex my co-executive producer muscles and designate you and Tom to do that.
Wasn't that nice of him to sacrifice
And now I
you?
just walked right into it.
You
We
did.
don't have
Recommending
we don't
it.
have a black
But yeah,
tank.
we don't have one. So
Oh yeah, nice. Okay then,
Darn.
Anthony, it's all yours.
We're going to travel internationally with you again in another RV, so we're going to fix that problem.
That's right. There we go.
Well, since it's out there because of Peter and John's video this morning, something I mentioned to our audience when we recorded that was that we did have something of a black tank emergency. One time we were setting up our skirting for the segment that we are going to be doing, and that is winter RVing. So we were setting up our skirting, and let's just say flexible RV hoses get much less flexible when it's very, very cold.
Oh no! Oh no!
And we had a black tank emergency, but it's a good thing we didn't film it. Oh wait, we did film it. We did.
Oh, lucky!
This quickly addresses what we as YouTubers certainly deal with. We always say that it takes 5 times longer to get any project done if you're filming it.
Oh yes.
Well, I would bet, Anthony, that the only reason you were even touching your sewer hose at that moment was to film something, and you wouldn't have been even down there otherwise, right?
No, we were putting up the skirting, and of course the skirting has to work its way around the hose, and the rigidity of the hose caused a movement that was...
A movement. That was very good. I see what you did there.
Very bad thing.
Well, let me promise our viewers that if you don't see that appear on the TV show, that I'm going to track down the footage and you will see it on our YouTube channel. So stay tuned for that. Hey, we're getting some great ideas from some of the viewers who are watching.
Oh, good.
One of them that is really sticking out for me, Jake suggested we should do an amazing race with the cast of the RVers, where we race from one coast to the other and have certain pit stops or certain tasks along the way. I think this is a great idea.
Services would love that.
I'm thinking the highway patrol would have a field day.
We would have to be a little bit strategic about what we did or didn't post about how fast we got from one coast to the other.
We're talking Amazing Race here, not Cannonball Run, right? Like...
Yeah, I just want to mention, if we're going to do Cannonball Run style, we have an unfair advantage. We have a former professional driver with a very good bus driver's bladder and 1,000-mile range on our motorhome without stopping for fuel. So you guys are going to get wiped out on this one.
Yeah, but you don't go faster than 55.
Never.
That's my on-ramp speed.
I'm pretty sure that's your enter the driveway speed. Anthony.
We will attest that we have driven on the road in convoy with Anthony and Lisa, and Anthony does seem to move faster than we do.
That's because we're going downhill.
You were drafting.
Yeah, you're headed south.
You were drafting.
Somebody also suggested that they would like to see some of the ins and outs of planning a trip and the details of fueling up and what do you pack and what do you take with you and how long are you going for and those types of things. So maybe Celine and I will do a segment like that on our YouTube channel about planning to take a trip with 3 angels in the back seat, and look for that coming up on our YouTube channel. It's a great idea. Anthony,
these suggestions...
Are you implying that the boys are not well behaved
we're
in the
going to
car?
move on from that question. Next question, please.
Good avoidance tactic.
We actually just tackled that question today, talking about our Alaska trip and how we plan those adventures. So that'll be coming up on our YouTube. But
cool.
The planning part of any trip, whether you're RVing or otherwise, does take a tremendous amount of work. And it doesn't matter if you're full timing or if you're just going for a weekend trip or a week-long trip in the summertime. Like, you want your experience to be good. And so you do a little bit of planning and preparation, and what are some of the things that can help that trip be successful.
It'd be a great segment.
Someone's also.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I think part of that is not just planning on how you're going to get somewhere, but one of the worst things that we try to avoid is driving past something fantastic without realizing it. It would be like if you're driving through Central California and you drive within 30 minutes of Yosemite National Park without realizing it or stopping. We like to avoid those sorts of things.
But also, I think some of the maybe the missed part of it is the fact that all of that planning is all part of the anticipation of the trip.
Yeah.
So, more often than not, the trip is going to go and it's going to seem like it was, just a blink because it happens so fast. But all that time planning and getting ready for it, that's all the anticipation of that moment. And some of the best excitement happens in that period.
Someone on Facebook is making a comment about finding BLM locations and how do you find boondocking sites. I know we do have some segments about boondocking coming up in season 2. Did you end up covering how you found those sites in that segment?
No, we're not telling everyone where all the great boondocking spots are. Then how the heck are we going to be able to park there? I don't want that broadcast on national television.
Tom and Kate, I don't know if you would agree with this, but one of the primary resources has become Campendium is certainly an extremely good one.
Don't give away the segment.
Well, that's Campendium.com, the ultimate, what's the other one?
Oh, Ultimate Campgrounds.
Ultimate Campground. That's an app that's good. I don't know what.
You're getting serious about answering the question.
Well, I'm answering the question.
Anthony, somebody's asking, what ideas do you have, or do you have anything in mind for how the show will evolve as future seasons come out?
Yeah, I think we're getting a response from people that they want to see more about traveling and destinations. So not just break and fix, not just gadgets and whatnot. Now those are certainly things that interest me, but the traveling component as well is something that more and more people have been asking for. So you'll notice in season 2 that we have spanned the globe. So we have definitely got traveling and destinations down. And I think we're going to be doing, I don't know about more of that because I'm not sure how much more you can do without becoming an exclusive travel show. But I think we're going to be continuing that. Now, we do a lot of international travel in season 2. I know I didn't do so much, but the other folks that you see here have gone to New Zealand, have gone to Italy, Alaska being more or less domestic, but certainly not short, not close. I think what we'd like to do moving forward is hit some more domestic destinations. So that, New Zealand is terrific. We will be covering New Zealand probably a little bit more in season 3. As well as season 2. Italy as well. We're covering that in season 2. But RVing in these far off lands might be a little out of reach of a lot of people, particularly now when maybe getting on an airplane is not, the first thing that you want to do or are able to do. So some more domestic travel, maybe things that may be just a few states away, that you can get in your RV or get in a rental RV for the weekend or for a week or a couple of weeks and still have a family vacation, still enjoy a good time. And whether you're doing it singularly or in a small convoy or with a tour group, there's a lot of great things that you can do domestically. And we'd like to show, I think, more of those in season 3 and moving forward.
I think John and I are already, if I can tip a hand towards season 3, that we are already scheduled to join one of the show's larger sponsors, Fantasy RV Tours, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, the first week of October this year for the Balloon Fiesta, assuming that all goes off as planned. That is a great type of destination like that. And while we are in that area, there are other potentials. A lot of the shooting opportunities are opportunistic, where we happen to be in an area and take advantage of that. And that part of the world has tremendous outdoor recreational opportunity. There may be segments we can shoot of that nature while we're there.
So a question that we get asked all the time is, do you have to eat out all the time because you're on the road? And I always just brag on Celine because she is incredible. But how do you guys find the balance being on the road and eating out and cooking in your RV? And I wonder how that could play into people's perception of being full time.
Well, it definitely depends on, your travel style, and if you are full-time versus part-timing, or just going out for a weekend or a week and you're wanting to kind of indulge in all of those things. For us personally, full-time, we've tried to get out of the vacation mindset, within the first 6 months. And and so we started really learning how to cook in our RV, and that was one of the reasons why we chose our RV, was around the kitchen, was making sure that it was going to meet our needs and enable us to cook at home. So we do a lot of cooking at home, and we eat out basically when we're in a cool place and we want to, treat ourselves, or it's a special occasion,
or sample the local fare.
Exactly.
Yeah,
A lot of
yeah.
times,
Yeah.
also traveling so much is sometimes you don't know what's good. So a lot of times we try to go to places if we have a recommendation, and otherwise maybe we'll stay home and make a great meal. And that's one of the things I think we love about RVs, is that you have a great kitchen with you, and you can pretty much make whatever meal you want.
Yeah, there's no doubt that for anyone who has an RV, that even the most basic travel trailer has a fully functional kitchen. Many of them have ovens, certainly a microwave, if not a regular oven. And we've seen the magic that Celine puts out of hers.
Every RV should just come with Celine.
John and I have kind of an odd situation that's a little different than Tom and Kate's, that we almost never eat out. We don't really know how to cook very well, but oddly we're overweight. So,
but I think the simple answer is that people do what they probably would normally do, for themselves at home. So if you tend to eat out a lot at home, when you're out on the road, you're probably going to tend to eat out a lot because you clearly don't enjoy cooking. If you cook all the time at home, now you may prefer to eat out while you're on the road just because you're sick of cooking. But, you pick up your pattern based off of what fits for you, and you have any option, really.
But one of the biggest differences in RVing versus traveling and staying in hotels or bed and breakfast or Airbnb type places is that you have your kitchen and your refrigerator with you, and there isn't any more reason to eat out while you are on the road in an RV than there is if you are at home in a regular house.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Paul is asking if you might tackle how you chose your RV. Is that something you might choose and you might tackle in a future video? Although you've probably covered it on your YouTube channels.
Actually, Anthony covered that very heavily in 2 episodes in season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did how to choose an RV. We basically went whether you're going to go with a drivable or a towable, and some of the elements that you'd consider in your decision. So we did do that in season 1, and in our own individual on the roads, I think all of us discussed how we made our personal selection to the RVs that we find ourselves in. I know in my on the road, I talked about our journey in RVing and what took me so long to enter the world of RVing, and then how I finally did it, and some of the RVs that I ended up going through to get to our 43-foot fifth wheel and our camper van. So, and my on the road is going to be in the first episode, but not on Discovery, on the streaming version and on PBS.
So thank you for that question. If you have missed season 1, it's not too late. You can catch it on PBS. You can catch it on Fun Roads TV, and you can get it on Amazon Video. You can get it on Apple, and you can
iTunes,
order
right.
the DVD at the RVers.
From Kate.
Of season.
Oh, you can't order it.
No, I'm gonna tell you a funny
I
thing.
will not send you one if you order it.
We have a regular viewer of ours who has been in touch with us before, who is not too far away from where we are, and has been unable to see the show for various reasons. And I saw him; he's watching today, John. He is going to stop by in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to give him a spare DVD that we have because he's tried so hard to see the show. We're just going to give him one.
Well, and it's also part of my job to segue from that into season 2 premieres on Discovery Channel this Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. And that is the only place you'll be able to see season 2 for the first 6 weeks. And then after that, it'll be available in digital formats, available on the DVD on our website, available in all different ways. Just make sure you connect with our social media channels for the RVers TV show so that you know exactly when that is all available.
And Adam, if I could mention one quick thing about that, the show does air at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central on the East Coast feed of Discovery. The West Coast feed airs 8 a.m. Pacific, which means 9 a.m. Mountain. One caveat to that is that there may be some local areas that do not pick up the West Coast feed of the Discovery Channel, which means that if you're in an area like that, your only way to see the show is to either get up early to watch it at 5 o'clock Pacific on the East Coast feed at 8 a.m. or DVR it.
There you go. Well, guys.
And reminder for our Canadian friends, it is not on Discovery Canada. It's Discovery US.
I'm sorry. It is only in the United States. Anthony, did I cover that correctly?
You did. And I do have some other dates. So speaking of Canadians, it'll be on Wild TV in Canada.
Wild Pursuit, right?
Yeah, on November 16th.
I got to write this down.
So that's it's a while out, but you'll see it there. It'll be on 3 times a week, including Friday night prime time on Wild. And for the streaming versions, that hits the internet on July 7th. So 7/7/2020.
And also,
there's something in there.
A lot of people have not heard of Fun Roads TV, and I want to mention that quickly also because Fun Roads is a newer network that is spreading out rapidly, and it's very much dedicated to Fun Roads, which that equals RVs. So it's about cars and things like that, and RVs. It's a natural for our show, and they are showing us in prime time in many major networks. Yeah. You do need to check your local listings. We will be expanding out through Fun Roads as that goes. I think it's funroads.tv, and there's more information to find out when it might be showing in your area.
Now, the good thing about Fun Roads for RVers is Fun Roads is available over the air. So you get to crank your RV antenna, and if you're in one of those areas, you can pick up Fun Roads TV for free over the air. So definitely go to the Fun Roads TV website to find out what areas they're broadcasting in. And every few weeks, they add several new major markets. So from when we first announced it back in January, I think their distribution now has doubled.
Wow.
Yeah, Anthony, in the video again that we posted this morning, another little plug.
Shameless.
Everyone must watch that. Well, YouTube was down for a little while, and we didn't get any views, so I'm trying to fix that. I'm a YouTuber at heart. What can I say? But Anthony, I don't know if you recall, but in our interview with you at the Bash, you made the initial announcement.
Yeah, that's right.
That you had gotten 2 hours before we went on stage there about Fun Roads, and you laundry listed major markets around the country that were already showing it back in January or were slated to do it then.
Yeah, and it's doubled since then, and they're growing more and more. I think they also want to enter Canada. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to watch the show, and there's different versions of the show. And you know what? We just had the rerun of season 1 just complete last Saturday. And, that was our first rerun. We've actually never rerun any series ever. And I caught word from some of our sponsors that the response to even the rerun was very, very encouraging. And, I can't say that surprised me, but it's nice to get that word, So
I'm getting, we get questions from people who are having some difficulty seeing the show because of they're out off the grid or whatever it might be. I want to mention that YouTube TV is one we don't mention that often. So for those who don't know what YouTube TV is, it's basically like getting Netflix. It means you're paying for the service and can watch many things on it as part of your monthly fee. The show is on YouTube TV. It means it's streamable. They have is that the one? They have DVR, cloud DVR access. So keep in mind, if you're looking for the show and you haven't looked at all these options, YouTube TV is a good one.
So before we head out tonight, I know there is way more content. Somebody was just mentioning that they loved seeing the segments of Tom and Kate in Alaska. I know there's way more of that to come on your YouTube channel and some of your social media channels. So Tom and Kate, let's start with you guys. How about you tell us about some of your social media channels and how people can connect with you outside of the TV show?
Well, you guys can connect with us on social media. We have a YouTube channel that we produce content for quite a bit, most notably our recent Go North series that wrapped up in February, and we're still putting out follow-up videos to that series, a little bit more deep dive stuff. But you can also find us on Instagram, you can find us on Facebook, and those are the three primary ones that we are on, but we also do Twitter as well.
Peter and John, where can people track down more if they want to learn more about RV Geeks?
The most common place for us would, of course, be our YouTube channel, RV Geeks. We also have a website, TheRVgeeks.com, which is TheRVgeeks.com, where we not only have more fully fleshed out blog posts when we put out a video, but we also have a resources page and discounts. We have many companies that we've found their gear to be very high quality, and we've arranged discounts so people can come and get discounts on various gear. We are also on Instagram. We are not on Facebook or Twitter, and we will not be in the foreseeable future unless
we're curmudgeons.
Unless someone continues to twist our arm hard enough, and that could happen, right, Adam?
It could.
Maybe. Yeah, so that's how to find us.
Okay, and I'm going to do Anthony's job for him because I am the online host of the RVers TV show, so you can track us down. Of course, if you're watching on Facebook, you might not realize, but we have a YouTube channel where we put regular content. It's a behind-the-scenes content. That's where this conversation will live after we're live. We're also on Twitter, the RVers TV. We're on Instagram, the RVers TV. And you can order the Season 1 DVD if that's how you'd like to watch it.
I was just going to say, Kate, come on.
At the RVers.
You got to give me some sort of signal, Adam.
I'm sorry, I should have given you a little bit of warning next time. Got it. Okay.
We'll get this down.
You can order the Season 1 DVD, Kate, at TheRVers.tv.
Before we go on, I do want to mention something. I don't know if people can tell, but this four-square group you're looking at, the six of us, plus Lisa, Anthony's wife, and Celine and Adam's kids, we are all good friends. We have these sorts of chats from time to time, and we genuinely do love spending real in-person time with each other whenever we can. And it's one of the great things about RVing is the little communities you can create. And we were friends with Adam before he was involved in the show. We were friends with Tom and Kate before they were involved in the show. And it's
nice to get to work with friends.
It's nice to be able to work with and socialize with and visit with and laugh with friends that you have this kind of intimate relationship with. Nothing we're doing here as we talk and laugh amongst each other is being done for a camera. We are tolerating each other rather well.
Probably a strength and a weakness. I feel like, some of the stuff that people might think is acting in the show is not really acting, and we really just are that way. So
yeah,
a little goofy.
I'll just leave it at that. You'll have to watch the show to see what I mean.
if they see us on camera and don't think they like us, they probably really won't, because that's who we are.
This is it. This is what you got.
But it can lead to things like our 5 weeks in New Zealand that we've just returned from recently with Tom and Kate. You talk about doing something special with dear friends, and for us, it was a very wonderful bonding experience to further deepen a friendship. And those sorts of things start with the shared experience of being RVers.
So somebody asked, and I just saw their comment pop up, I know we're heading out, but they said, do you still enjoy RV living now that you're doing it as part of a TV show for work? And I can say, I think I could safely say on behalf of all of us, we just love it. And the work of getting to show other people how to do it and what we've learned along the way is just makes it even better. It just makes it more of the fun that we get to have. So,
well, just so people know, we all have other jobs. For those who don't know, that Adam, I got to know where to point here. He's over on my left, right? That Adam works with us as a partner in our website design business, which directly led to his being here with us. Tom and Kate and Anthony, they all have their own businesses and things that they run. Lest anyone thinks that we are on screen, kind of like
royalty.
No. Like I was going to say, like on screen, like you might see someone like on television normally, like whether you see Jennifer Aniston or somebody on TV or Oprah Winfrey on TV, you think, oh, well, those guys are on TV. They're making a load of money. We actually all work regular jobs. We keep regular schedules and have responsibilities.
This is the fun stuff.
But this is the fun stuff.
That's true. Well, we have to sign off. Thank you so much, Anthony, Tom and Kate, Peter and John, for hanging out tonight. Thank you, everybody who watched tonight. And we will see you
for
on
joining
the
us.
road.
Thank you.